Hello, it's that time of year again. It's Tour de Fleece 2026. And I wanted to do an audit of my fibre stash. So, we have black corridor. We have scales. We have fibre. Which I shall rest on the scales gingerly. 306 grams of black corridor. Then that's good because I bought 400 grams of this. Am I good to show that? Probably not. Okay. Hello. It's that time of year again. Tour de Fleece 2026. I'm going to do an audit. I have some scales. I'm going to do an audit of all of my fibre stash. I have fibre. $311. Let me weigh that again. 311 again. I have 306. I had a full start with the recording. It's fine. We'll survive. I'm going in order of when I purchased this fibre. So this is the oldest fibre I have. And then I have some nice green corridor. Yes, green corridor. Which I shall then grab because I was poorly prepared. Bah! It's green. It's emerald green. Uh, 315. Now it makes sense that these two would be similar weight because I have been barber poling these together in a 2-ply. So yes, these are a pair. They belong together. Now, that is not the limit of the amount. Bring that box over here. Very, very poorly prepared for this. Extremely so. Appalling. Yeah. As you can see, there's more fibre. Go this next. Now this is a lovely fetching yellow and white variegated. That is corridor. So we have more corridor. Lots of corridor. So I'm going to say white and yellow. Corridor. Here's the scales are saying 406. There we are. 406. And then we have this, which is nice green and white. It's like an ice cream. $406. We have white and green. Corridor. 406 grams. There we go. Now, the very next thing we have is this yellow. Now this, you'll be absolutely shocked and amazed to hear, it's corridor. $303 grams. So, yellow. Corridor. You're noticing a pattern here. 306 grams. Yes, it seems that someone has a lot of corridor. Now. Baha! This is not Corriedale. No, you're shocked. You're shocked that I have fibre that is not Corriedale. This is in fact Blueface Leicester. And it's this weird olive colour. So, olive. BFL. 105 grams. Shocking. Under the mountain of Corriedale, there is a little bit of BFL. But wait, there's more! 52 grams. Of the same, it's the same olive. It's the same. 52 grams. There you go. And then we have this, which was a sample sent to me when I bought the BFL, as these companies often do, of wool, of unknown wool, just vaguely yellow and white unknown wool. But it's in two little bits. Poos? Two little poos? Don't know. 16 grams either way. So I'm gonna say the unknown yellow of mystery is 16 grams. That's where my stash sits. That is what that looks like. So, what's interesting about this is I buy fibre. I don't usually buy it throughout the year. I buy it once a year. Usually before Tour de Fleece. So this year I bought this and this. And these two. That is what I bought. Last year I bought this and this. And I didn't spin it. As you can tell. Now these two were 400 grams each, meaning I spun about 100 grams of each of them, meaning I've spun about 200 grams out of this stash. And also last year I had a grey-green braid that was 100 grams when I spun that, meaning last year, I spun ish. That's how much I spun in a year, approximately. Now consider that is how much I could spin in a year, based on that number. This. So then that would be gone, and all of this would remain. Now, do you think that maybe I should stop buying fibre? Maybe. Yes. Before it goes really out of control. I'd say so, wouldn't you? But also, I would say that maybe I could spin more than 300 grams in a year. Maybe. So here's what I'm thinking. Tour de Fleece. I already started barber poling these two. So this is a nice barber pole project. It's a nice barber pole project. Yes. And we have this, which is a white and yellow, white and green. That autofocus is horrendous, I apologise. We have a white and yellow, white and green. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. I bought it last year, before Tour de Fleece, thinking, yeah, I'll run out of these two. So this project has been over a year. However, I thought, okay, when I buy this year, I shouldn't just buy with no plan. I should have a plan. So I calculated some numbers and I decided that this, if I was to do these three were bought this year for Tour de Fleece. If I was to do a 3-ply with 1 strand of BFL to 2 strands of Corridale, now that would mean I'd need a ratio of, it's more like 1 to 3, isn't it? Or 3 divided by 1? I don't know. 1 BFL, 2, no, that is about right. Temporary, don't do maths on camera, kids. Don't do maths on camera. It's a bad idea. So, what we're working at here is then we're going to have 2 strands of this. We're going to have 2 strands of this. 2 strands. A strand of this. And that will give an overall slightly variegated, slightly not quite a barber pole, maybe a bit of a barber pole. Slightly variegated yellow. I think the overall effect will look yellow. And then, with these numbers are enough for me to make 1 pair of socks. Plus 1 jumper. Well, these numbers are absurd. I was like, oh, a jump. I want to make a jumper. So I am gonna get 800 grams. That's how much. That's a jumper. And then I've recently weighed some of my jumpers. None of them are 800 grams. It's absurd. They're more like this sort of number. More like this. Slightly less than that, actually. They're more like a 250 grams-ish. So this gives me, yeah. I weighed it. It made sense. This does not. This is absurd. This is equally absurd. This is still working to that fantasy pie in the sky. 800 grams. 800 grams. Ooh, it's in a cloud. It's in a cloud. Look at this. It's a cloud. Because it's not real. It is fake. We must banish this number. This number may not appear again. This is not how much it takes for me to make a jumper. So why did I buy that much? Why? Why? So, this is the result. Now this is a lot of fibres to just store. Quite frankly, this is enough for me to be spinning with for a long, long time. So, 2 things. 1, definitely not going to buy more fibre for the rest of the year. 100%. Like, that's not even a joke. That's not even a, ooh, I'm so tempted. No. Ew. No, absolutely not. There's far too much fibre in this pile. Secondly, last year, I spent about approximately, very, very approximately, 300 grams. I need to pick up the pace. So, what do we think? 325 grams this year? Is that a target for this Tour de Fleece? I should point out that 300 grams was across the year last year. While this is more... Oh, we're talking about Tour de Fleece by itself. which I think is a bit ambitious. I think that's a bit ambitious for a year. Or certainly ambitious for Tour de Fleece. I think it's ambitious for a year, let alone Tour de Fleece. So I am going to set no expectations regarding how much I will spin during Tour de Fleece. However, I think what we're saying here more broadly is that I have too much fibre. And I should probably finish this project, maybe. Yes. Because I have some really nice fibre and I should use it. And it will result in lovely knitting and it will look pretty. And what am I doing? This is insane. This is absurd. Absurd. Absolutely absurd. To continue with the absurdity, I haven't weighed this. That's about 10 or 20 grams. That's more of the black Corridale from over there before. And it just kind of lives here on top of this stand bookshelf. This is where it lives, so when I want to pick up and do some spinning. Spinning, by the way. I'm getting a lot more consistent nowadays. That's pretty darn good. Temporary spinning. Temporary spinning location. On top of weights, yes. That's how used the weights are. Very used. Very appreciated. Let's see. That's about a fingering weight. I mean, once this is plied, it'll be about a fingering weight. This is going to be a 2-ply. So you have 1 ply of this and 1 ply of the green. And together that'll make a fingering weight. This is about lace weight. And yeah, here's a Corridale. Which I've totally been spinning consistently. Yep, totally. Consistently. Every day. That's why it's been just sort of dumped here awkwardly. I think that's the first thing we need to cure. I think I need to establish some sort of routine where I just do a little bit of spinning here and there. On and off. Maybe 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Absolutely. That way, I actually make consistent progress over time so that my ridiculous box of fibre shrinks over time instead of growing exponentially beyond all control. And also, I need to be extremely careful with my purchases. One thing I have done while I'm sat here criticizing, telling myself off like a teacher. No, I shall speak more positively. Notice. This is a nice black. Very nice. Well, here we have, that's black. Green. We have this nice dark emerald green. We have this nice olive. I know I called it weird before, but I do actually quite like it, even if I think it's weird. We have this nice bright yellow. Like, even the samples, just by pure accident. I didn't pick these. These just arrived. But even these, and then the white and the green, and then the white and the yellow. These all work fantastically within the palette of how I like to dress, and so actually, in terms of conscientiousness and in terms of planning ahead, it's not a complete failure. It's a partial failure, but not a complete failure, because actually these are all colours that work fantastically with each other and work fantastically within my wardrobe. Because these are all the nice sort of warm autumnal colours that I tend to really, really enjoy. So actually, not by accident, it's been very much on purpose, but actually I've not done a bad job in terms of keeping to the colour family that I actually wear. I've not just been picking up stuff because it's pretty. I've been buying stuff once a year and I've been sort of carefully considering, okay, how do these colours work within my wardrobe? Yellow? I mean, look, I'm wearing a burgundy top right now. Olive? Works great. That matches. Yellow? Cool. That works. Black? Absolutely. Green? Yes. All works. That's what an autumnal color palette gives you. Everything matches. Yes, maybe. This is absurd. I still think I own too much fiber. In all seriousness, in joking around, this is too much fiber. This is bad. Might I add, I only learned to spin last year. So I bought these two and a braid last year when I first started learning to spin. Consumed the braid completely, turned it into wool. Very good. Knitting wool. And then I bought these two because I ran out of braid to knit with. Okay, to spin with. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's conscientious. You're actually getting through it and actually using it all. Then, before Tour de Fleece last year, I bought these two. Then, before Tour de Fleece this year, I bought these three. And these arrived as samples with these three. So, absurd! Absolutely absurd. Oh, I don't know what to do. This is awful. It sounds like such a terrible problem to have. Oh, you have too much fibre. Oh, poor you. But I legitimately have like barely any storage space, and this is like spilling out of the box, and that's a bad thing, and I don't have enough storage to make this work. So genuinely, I would like to actually use it and have less fibre. That would be great. I mean, there's a few easy wins here. Like I could make something with this, but the problem is because this is a sample, I really don't know what to make with it. The heel on a sock? I don't know, maybe the cuff of a sock? I don't know. I bought some BFL with the intention of mixing it in with the Corridale to kind of give it some strength, because BFL's really good for socks and things. And I know people think, oh, you need nylon with socks, and I'm like, yes and no. Yes and no. That's a complicated topic. But I'm making 100% wool socks on purpose. I'm aware. I know about the drawbacks. It is fine. Yes. But I feel like I'm rambling into infinity at the moment. This is the plan. The plan is unhinged. It's not really a plan. Goodbye. In preparation for Tour de Fleece, I decided to do some nice, relaxing spindle spinning with the nice black Corridale. And I have been spinning for 24 minutes and I've spun 1 gram. 1 gram! So, yeah, I think it'll take quite a bit of time to spin through all this. This is just the amount that I want on the spindle. I weighed up, I think it was 20 grams I weighed up total of the black. And then once all this little lot is spun up, I'll put this onto the bobbin and then I'll apply the 20 grams of green with the 20 grams of black. It's for a nice two-ply barber pole. I think that would be quite pretty. Yes, Tour de Fleece hasn't started yet, but I thought I'd just start doing a little bit of spinning in little bursts here and there, get myself reused to it after not spinning all that much over the winter. And well, I just want to take a moment. Let's look at how beautifully shiny and glossy this Corridale is. It really is beautiful, isn't it? Look at this. Look at the way it's catching the light like that. Absolutely wonderful. It'll make some very, very pretty barber pole with the equally shiny green. Nice 2-ply barber pole. Give a nice speckly, mild look to the knitting. It will look very, very nice. Yes, very happy. So I had an idea about what I'm going to do with this, because 1 gram spun in 24 minutes is not a lot. But look how lovely and consistent. I'm so happy. I only learned to spin last year, so having like really, really consistent fingering weight, this will be fingering weight once it's plied. Really consistent fingering weight is like, yes. I can't spin chunky though, let's be honest. Okay, before we admire my good work, let's just say I can't spin chunky. I can't spin chunky or bulky or DK. I can only spin fingering, okay? I am a one-trick pony when it comes to spinning. Let's make that very clear. However, 1 gram spun in 24 minutes is quite slow, I think. Excuse the clock. So, what I think I might try to do is, I think one of the reasons why that might be the case is because I'm not spinning that often. Today's the 6th of June, and I can't remember the last time I actually sat down and it was some spinning, which is a real shame because look how pretty. So I think I just need to sit down and do like short little bursts, maybe once a day. So I'm going to sit down with a time, maybe like 15 minutes a day, and I'm going to see what I get done all the way up to Tour de Fleece. And we're going to see if I can improve my pace a little bit, or if, I don't know. I'm not that bothered about being sort of a slower spinner, but I would like this nice, beautiful black Corridale spun up so I could actually knit with it. That would be lovely, yes. Turn this into this, which will then turn into nice wool. Yes. And here's one I made earlier. These really pretty barber pole. I'd say this isn't quite as consistent as what I'm spinning at the moment because this was spun a while ago. But you can really get an idea. You can see parts where my plying was not great. That right there is barely plied. But then other parts like this applied really nicely. Yeah. So you see the consistency in my plying is not 100%. And the consistency in my spinning hasn't always been 100% either. But it is improving over time, look at that. And the colour and just, you can admire the Corridale, the way that as I move this, the light shines across it. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You know, I'd expect a shine like this on something like silk, not wool. No one told me, before I started spinning, no one told me that wool could look like this. Really shiny. Absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to knit with this, it'll be great. The reason why it's not in a hank or anything, and it's just kind of like in a ball like this, is because I've just unhanked it into a ball so I could put it on my ball winder. Because yes, I don't have a Swift. But it doesn't matter, look how nice. Totally worth it. Totally worth it. So you have to excuse the coat. But I have this awful confession. It's a new day. It's the 7th of June. And I've just spent 26 minutes spinning. And you can't tell. You want to know how much I spun in 26 minutes? 1 gram. 1. A single gram. If I did 20 minutes of spinning every single day, I might have spun through this lot of fibre in, well, it's June now, so it's like near the start of June, so that's whole June, July, August, mid to late September. Oh, that's shocking. That really is appalling. That really is something else. Oh no. I didn't feel like I was this slow last year. When I was doing a bunch of spin, I spun 300 grams last year. Okay. We can do the maths on that. There's just no way. There's no way. Am I spinning too fine? Is this too thin? Is that the problem? Am I spinning like way too thin? I think I need to think about this a little bit more. So Tour de Fleece has not started yet. I think I have a support spindle upstairs. This spindle's like obviously solid wood. It's quite nice, but it's quite heavy. Like I can feel the weight of it because it's wood, right? I have a support spindle upstairs, and I've never done support spindle spinning before, but I'll send that fiber, that little sample fiber with all like the blended yellows and stuff that I think is merino. So I think I should use that merino to learn support spindle spinning. And that way I can teach myself a new skill. And the type of support spindle is, I looked it up, and apparently it's quite good for this sort of like thin spinning that I've been doing. So apparently that should be a much better tool to be using for that style of spinning. So if I start doing that and it's like way faster, then there's an argument to be made, isn't there, that maybe I should be support spindle spinning instead of drop spindle spinning with a heavy drop spindle. Because I don't really want to get like a CD drop spindle that would be really light, because A, I don't have a CD, B, I don't really want to destroy a CD for no reason, and C, that means I have to buy more stuff. I'd rather just use what I have, and if I'm going to use what I have, well, what I have is a support spindle upstairs which I've never used ever. So Penny is going to sit here and think about what they've done, and I'm going to go upstairs and teach myself support spindle spinning using the sample fiber, and we're going to see what that turns into. And it might end up that I start spinning all my Corriedale on a support spindle. Maybe. I can almost guarantee that my first few attempts at support spindle spinning will be an absolute disaster because I've never done it before. But I'll learn and it'll be great. Yeah, I'm going to learn support spindle spinning. So I just wanted to share how I got up to with the drop spindle spinning. Not drop spindle, my goodness. Well, that's not a good start, is it? No, with the support spindle spinning, right? It's my support spindle right here. This is what it looks like. Ooh. The camera will focus. We're having a fantastic day. Everything's going perfectly, yes. Okay, so this, which the camera is now focusing on, good, is a support spindle. And as you can see, we have a cob. You can definitely see some inconsistency, some slubs. But that's virtually the same weight as I was spinning with the Corriedale, with the sample, I assume merino. I assumed merino, but this white stuff is something different. That it's a different fibre. I can tell because the drafting on it felt different. Like the merino, which I'm pretty convinced is merino at this point, is this yellow. And it was like really slippery as I was drafting it. And because I've actually never spun with merino before, I kept overdrafting by mistake. While I feel like this yellow was a bit more rigid, less slippy. And because it was less slippery, I felt like I actually had an easier time drafting the white stuff versus the yellow stuff. So this is a blend of some sort. It's a blend of merino and something else. This is very shiny. Not sure how, yeah, you can sort of see. Yeah, very, very shiny. Super glossy. Incredibly glossy. So I have no idea what this fibre is. I assume wool. But I don't know what wool is like super major glossy like that and is less slippery than merino. I don't know. And there's so many different wools out there that how could you know, really? I mean, I could probably make a guess if I had a little bit more knowledge, but hey ho. But this is what it's looking like. Considering this is actually, literally, my first ever time ever in the history of the planet spinning merino, and also my first ever time in the history of the planet spinning on a support spindle. Yeah, I think that's actually not gone all that badly. I mean, look at the shingles, they're so good. And I wanted to share with you, this cob was built up over 29 minutes. Okay, I timed it, 29 minutes, not including messing about getting started, because yeah, you always get these things when you're trying something new. 29 minutes, I spent 5 grams of fibre, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's 5 times the amount of Corriedale I was spinning on the drop spindle for the same amount of time. So 5 minutes a day would give me, in 10 days, I would have spun 50 grams of fibre if I was spinning like 20 minutes, well, I suppose like half an hour every day. That's doable. That's doable. I could spin 50 grams. And then maybe I could finish that ridiculous amount of green and black Corriedale. I could maybe have spun that by the end of the year. At that rate, that's like suddenly, and that's bearing in mind me being very ill practiced with this tool. Yes, ill practiced. This is my first ever attempt with this tool. And you can tell, I mean, look at the state of that cob. But that is way more like doable. And also I can like sit in a chair and, well, I was sitting in a chair when I was drop spindling too, but I could sit in a chair and do this and just rest this on the table, and that's perfectly doable. So yeah, I'm liking this. I'm probably going to be doing a lot more support spindle spinning. I think that's cool. Yeah, I'm so excited.